Hi, so in this video, we're gonna learn about how to use Docker. What are the basic commands that you're gonna need? Uh, Most of the times, you'll not need anything more than basic few of the commands like pull, push, and not even push, like pull, run, ps logs, and so on. Okay, so what we will concentrate more on is the command line interface, which is CLI. But Docker also gives you the Docker application, like this, a Docker desktop, a GUI application. If you are comfortable with the GUIs, feel free to use it. I wouldn't recommend this for starting, because if you understand what is actually going on in the CLI, GUI only runs that same part but with the buttons and all. So I would recommend understanding the command line interface first. Then it will make the understanding. And not to mention, GUI is actually very heavy. So if you are low on RAM, uh, if you don't have the hardware for that, at least like 8 GB or 16 GB RAM, I wouldn't recommend installing the Docker desktop. Okay, so now installing Docker depends on which OS you are on right now. If you are on Windows or Mac, I think you have to download the Docker desktop, because I personally couldn't find a way to make it work with only CLI. But once you download Docker desktop, uh, you get the command Docker available like this. Bye bye. Docker. So and then you can run it. So if you are on Windows, on Mac OS, it's pretty straightforward. You just download the package and just install it. But on Windows, if you're on Windows, make sure you have enabled the WSL integration with Docker desktop. If you do that, then you'll be able to run Docker on the WSL. Okay, so Docker will use WSL as its backend kind of thing. So it will be just a bit more efficient than actually running the containers on Windows directly. Okay, so if you have installed it, it's pretty straightforward. You can just search Docker install for your OS, like Docker install for Windows, and you'll get the ISO, and just double click and start installing. Or you can watch some tutorials on that. I'll give the link in the description. Okay, so if you have once you have installed the Docker, you should be able to get the access to CLI. Now, one way to verify that is by, of course, the version command. If you are able to run the version command, and if you are getting some output back, then it is installed correctly. Okay, so if you are seeing this output, that means you have Docker and overall setup installed correctly. Now we will see the basic commands of Docker, what you can do with it, and how to actually get started with the running the instances and all. So before diving there, I would like to show you the site called as hub.docker.com. This is one of the there are many such resources, but just like GitHub is there for pulling and pushing the source code, this is one of the most prominent site for pulling and pushing the images of Docker, right? You don't have to sign in or sign up. Here is the search bar. You can just start typing the thing that you want. So before showing you directly running the any other app, I'll show you like how to run Hello World itself. So whenever you want to search for your the image that you want to run on your machine, the app that you want to run on your machine, you can just search here and it will give you the resembling images. Now remember, these are all images. What you will be doing is you'll be pulling these images on your machine, and then you'll tell Docker that from this image, spawn a container for me, create a container for me. So just like that, I'm gonna do the same thing with this uh, hello world image. Okay, so now for that, uh, it's for that, what you there is just like Git has git pull command. So what does git pull command do for you? It clones the it pulls the source code from a remote repository to your local machine. Similar to that, Docker has the same similar command called as docker pull. Okay, you'll be able to see this here as well. You can click on it, it will copy the command that you want to run. So if you run this command, what Docker will do is Docker will pull this image from hub.docker.com to your local machine. Okay, so if I run docker pull hello dash world world, it's going to use default tag. Now tag is nothing but something like version. but a bit more different than that, because on same version you can have different apps. Uh, I'll not dive into tag at the moment. So it's using the latest version of Hello World, and it's gonna pull that Hello World from hub to your local machine. Now remember, it will not run, just like git pull doesn't run anything. Docker pull does not run anything. It's just gonna pull the image and it's gonna store it on your machine. Now, how do we pull this? How do we run this? There is a command called as docker run. Now with it, if you just give the image name hello dash world, it's gonna run the container or the image name. Now it says hello from Docker and some other stuff with it. So if you're seeing the same output, that means you have pulled the image as well as ran one container out of it immediately. Okay, now this is where the container ran, but it exited immediately after running. Okay, sometimes you don't want such behavior, but we'll see how to avoid this. So this is how you can run. Just remember, there is a shortcut for this as well. You don't have to always pull first and then run. A Docker run will handle pull as well if the image is not on your machine. Okay, so I can show you this by actually running a valid uh, container. Let's have Node.js. Okay, so I need to install Node.js. I'm gonna look for Node. I don't think this is it. I think it's just Node. Yeah, this one. It says official image. So I'm gonna need this, and I'll go here. It says Docker pull Node, but I think I'll have to write this latest command as well. But I think this latest comes with Debian, which is like a bit more than what we need at the moment. So I'm gonna use the much smaller version called as Alpine on 16. I think it's LTS dash Alpine. Yeah, this one. Okay, 16 Alpine or any of these will result into same image version. We need LTS dash Alpine. So I'm gonna use this. So Docker run. Remember, I haven't run the pull command first. So on my local machine, the node image doesn't exist. So if I run docker pull run node, and with it, out of these many versions, I need to give the tag name. Now I want only this specific version. So any of these tags, comma separated. I want LTS dash Alpine, so I can give it like this: LTS dash Alpine. Alpine is an operating system which is much smaller, so it is useful for showing the demonstration and all. So to actually instead of running entire Linux of 700 MB, this is much better. So I'm going to use this for now for this demonstration. You can use, if you have enough bandwidth and enough bandwidth as a network and enough disk space, you can use the 16 the buster or bullseye or any other image that you want. You'll learn these things later. So if I run this, so it says unable to find image locally. Now it's gonna go to hub.docker.com. It's gonna pull the node image of this version for me, as well as once the pull is done, it's gonna run the node image. Now where is it? So I said to run Node.js, just like I said to run hello world here, and it ran hello world. It did not run hello world here. The reason for that is it's running the container and it's immediately dropping out of it, like it's closing the container immediately. So what you can do is you can first check if the container is running. So here is we're going to learn new command. It's called as docker ps. Maybe short for processes. So it will show you how many docker images you are actually containers, sorry, you're actually running. So if I run this command, it says no images. So these are it prints a table for you. So currently you're not running any image. Okay, so there is, because the container ID and image name and all are empty. So what you want to do is instead of running like this, you want to add one flag like this. So docker run, but with it. Now I and T here stands for interactive terminal. right? And now if I just give the same name, LTS dash Alpine, now what it will do is it will run the container and it will drop me inside the container. Now remember, this is exactly valid Node.js. There is nothing different than the Node.js. In this Node.js, there is nothing different than what the Node.js version you have on your machine. Now, of course, you'll not be using Node.js inside a Docker. This is just a demonstration. It's much better to have it installed on your machine with Node version manager or something. But yeah, you can do that. Okay, and now this container is actually in running state. If I go here and I show you the same output of Docker PS now, it says this output. Ignore this. Maybe I can make it smaller. Yeah, so container ID is this. Now this is one of the most important column, because any operation you want to do on that container, let's say you want to delete the container, stop the container, remove the data and all, you'll be doing that most of the time with this ID. Okay, just like object IDs are there for MongoDB, this ID is dedicated for this image. Now, what is the name of the image? Name of the image is node LTS Alpine. So that means this container was spawned from this image. Okay, and the command for spawning that was something this, which which we don't care about, because this command was written by the creator of Node.js and who created that image, the Node.js image for the Docker. Okay, and when it was created, how long it's been running and all. If it has opened any port, this is also important column, but only when you have to run some services inside Docker, and name of the container. So Docker has given some random name for your container. You can decide to give some name by -n command. Okay, so this is how you can clone any image that you want by just one command. You'll be able to run it like this. So Docker run and the image name. Okay, so this is all for this video. In the next video, we'll learn about a bit more advanced concepts and some basics about images and containers. Thank you for joining. I'll see you.